From Pandora, welcome to A Vault Hunter's Guide to the Borderlands, the best Borderlands podcast on the EchoNet. I'm Drew.
I'm Jeff.
And we never know how to transition between those two, but yeah. Anyways, this happens to be episode 5? That sounds right.
5.
Episode 5 in earnest.
Not including the mini-sode.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, looking forward to getting into our topics today, and, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got a lot of fun stuff planned, so, but first, as we always do, how was your last 2 weeks in the Borderlands?
Pretty uneventful.
Same.
I mean, just kind of putzed around, you know, not really doing anything new or interesting, and,
Surprise!
No! No, we got, new DLC, and it's, in short, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, really great.
It's so good, you guys. I mean, so that's, in case it wasn't very obvious, we're gonna spend the majority of our time talking about that. So it's gonna be our topic and how our last 2 weeks in the Borderlands kind of rolled in together into one. So we're actually gonna kind of sort of skip past that real quick. We're gonna go right to the little bit of news that we have. So Drew, you kind of found this first piece. Well, you didn't find it, but I mean, you were the one that shared it with me. So you want to go ahead and let us know about this random thing that we found, or that the community found?
Yeah, so I didn't discover it. I found it on the Borderlands subreddit. Somebody had posted about it, about how when you open up Borderlands on your PC, not the enhanced edition, but the original version, and you Alt-Tab away from it, and you just kind of leave your computer for a while, you'll hear this really odd series of sounds that nobody can identify.
Yeah, it's super weird. So mainly where we've seen this and where we're getting a lot of our information from, or at least where Drew sent it to me, is there's a video done by the YouTuber Oddheader. That just came out on June 20th, so very, very recently. And he actually was notified about this from another Borderlands community member named Dax Marco. So they were able to find this, and basically they say all this in the video, but to break it down, basically what happened is Dax Marco was going to play a session of Borderlands, the original Borderlands, not the enhanced version, mind you, and he alt-tabbed to go check Discord real quick, and in the background, Borderlands was still playing. Okay, that's not a big deal. It's just going through the loading screens and the 2K splash screens and all that kind of stuff. And there was these weird moaning sounds that were happening, and it was really creepy and honestly like a little bit unsettling. So
yeah, that's accurate. So we'll probably include a link to that video in the show notes.
Mm-hmm. So
that way you can check it out for yourself. And then it's really easy to replicate. So I don't know, Jeff and I may do this, but maybe we can isolate that sound and like speed it up or something like that and see if it's something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do. One of my other hobbies is a lot of, like music and sound production, stuff like that. So I might take it and see if I can do that and figure it out. If I find anything, then I'll definitely let you guys know. But probably anything I do is not going to be something that somebody else has already done now at this point, because the internet moves so fast like that. But yeah, it's really interesting. So we appreciate Oddheader for the video on that, and we appreciate Dax Marco for discovering that. So yeah, it's super easy to figure out. So if you want to hear it yourself, literally just go on Steam, load up the original version, not the enhanced version of Borderlands, and as soon as it starts, loading, just Alt-Tab, and that's it, and you'll be able to hear it. It takes maybe a minute or two to actually go through.
Something like that, yeah.
But it's a few different moaning kind of sounds. It's super weird, super weird. But now, if anyone finds anything about it, please let us know. Hit us up on Twitter or send something to our Gmail. We'd love to know if there's something more to this.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would have been the only piece of news really that we had today, other than the new DLC, obviously.
Yeah.
Had I not tracked down this one-off article.
Oh, hold on. We got something else first.
Okay.
So, my friends, today is a sad day for the 5th episode of our podcast. The meme dies. We can no longer make jokes about that one guy that plays Sniper Gage.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that is disappointing because it's definitely something that can be done now.
Yeah. So
which, I mean, yay, I guess.
Hooray.
Thanks Gearbox,
yeah,
for ruining the joke.
So
Jerk.
We'll get into a couple of things, but we know, anyone that has played the new DLC, I'm sure is semi-familiar with the new level of gear known as Effervescent. If you listen to our previous podcast, that's what we were assuming. The rainbow gear was, and they have some interesting features to them, things like that. There was a video that was put out by Jotzdude, Jotzdude139. I'm sure a lot of people are very familiar with him. He's been in the community forever. Lots of great guides, lots of fun things. He did a video where he was using an effervescent sniper rifle called the Hot Mama, and its thing is that it has perfect accuracy. So that overrides Gage's anarchy skill, not as far as the damage, but as far as the accuracy part of it goes. Now, there's still some stabilization issues when you're actually using it, so it's, there's a lot of sway with the sniper rifle, but wherever you shoot is where it's going to hit. So
Yep.
So
that's really, really, really it's cool that 7 years later or whatever, after the game's original release, that we've got a we finally got a new build for a character.
Yeah,
that's just wicked.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm not sure now. Drew, you've been doing a little bit more research into the effervescent stuff than I have, because we have obviously we've played quite a bit, but we haven't gotten everything yet. But now can you get that sniper rifle in different like elements and things like that?
Oh, so it only comes in incendiary. Here, let me pull up the page for it real quick.
Okay.
It's an effervescent sniper rifle. It's dropped by Lieutenant Hoffman in the Mount Scarab Research Center.
Mm-hmm.
Always incendiary. It has a unique voice module because it is a talking weapon.
Right.
Increased damage, accuracy, reload speed, and magazine size. Bolt action fire. Fixed melee attachment. Projectiles have a trail of purple hearts on either side of the bullet path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but it's...
And specifically, interesting note, the Hot Mama can only spawn with a Malawan sight, a dull grip, and the bladed accessory.
Interesting.
And is one of the few... So, was there anything interesting that caught your attention when I was reading through the description here?
I mean...
So, let me...
Yeah.
It's an effervescent sniper rifle in Borderlands 2 manufactured by Jacobs. The Hot Mama is dropped by Lieutenant Hoffman in the Mount Scarab Research Center. It's always incendiary.
Wait, so it's a Jacobs that's incendiary?
Yes.
What?
Correct.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Man, we gotta go back and redo like every video now based on this new information.
I know, right? This is new territory, people.
Yeah.
This is a whole new world we live in now, where Jacob's guns can come with elements.
Technically, you are technically correct.
The best kind of correct.
Yeah. So yeah. If you have Gage, if you've got like a max level Gage, definitely go and check it out. I'm sure that'd be fun to do. A sniper build with that, and everything. So, but yeah, again, thanks for Jotzdude on his video. Always a pleasure to watch him stream and watch his videos and learn a few things. So it's great. So yeah, moving on from there. What else do we have? I know it's kind of a lighter news session this time, but what else do we have?
Yeah, like I said, the only other thing that I found was this article from the Waco Tribune Herald.
Oh, okay.
It says, let's see. I'll just go ahead and give you the first couple paragraphs. It says changes in population density, rapid urbanization, and rising land values have altered much of the historically rural landscape of the Texas borderlands, according to a recent Texas Land Trends report. Hold on.
Yeah, don't.
The report trends in lands ownership along Texas. Oh, come on. See, now. It was in collaboration with the Borderlands Research Institute at Sul Ross State University.
Come on. How is the Borderlands Research Institute not about the game made by Gearbox and about the Texas Borderlands? Lame.
I feel duped.
No, we're just kidding.
Well, anyways, that wraps up the news for the day.
Yeah, we're just kidding, guys. Like, we actually do put time and energy into this. He didn't just click on a random article that said Borderlands.
No.
We just legitimately have nothing else to go over unless we're talking about the Commander Lilith DLC, which we are right now. So we're gonna,
which is our main topic, and we're gonna get into
witches.
It right now. Witches. All right. So, all right. So let's go ahead and start off with the main story.
Mm-hmm.
Disclaimer: like, if y'all don't want to be spoiled, like if you haven't played it yet, you haven't had a chance to or whatever, you're out to sea. You've been out to sea for 2 weeks and haven't been able to play or something. I don't know. Spoilers ahead. So
yeah, just be aware.
Join us next time.
All right. Thanks to you guys. So, all right. Everybody else, you still with us? All right, good. Let's get into it.
All right. So, as an overall, let's just take an overview of the story. Basically, this comes after Tales from the Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
It is post Tales from the Borderlands pre. Is it the Borderlands 3 pre-sequel? Is that what it is?
Kind of, yeah. So yeah, it's after Tales from the Borderlands, and to those people who have played it, Tales from the Borderlands also takes place after Borderlands 2. So
right. So in essence, what the story is that Sanctuary. The citizens of Sanctuary are not sure that they really need the Crimson Raiders and those guys anymore. People are talking about leaving Sanctuary because the planet's safe. You know, there's no Hyperion threat anymore or anything like that. So people are talking about leaving. They're talking about leaving the solar system to go explore the other vaults that are revealed at the end of Borderlands 2. They're kind of trying to decide what happens, and some asshole shows up with these plant spores and with this gas that he releases, and it basically converts people into like plant monster people essentially, and he takes the vault key and takes over Sanctuary, and Lilith, whooshes them out of there, and then it's just a struggle to get back and kill Hector and take back Sanctuary.
Yep. So
hence the name Commander Lilith and the fight for Sanctuary.
Perfect. Yep. So obviously, spoilers in this. Roland is dead. So sorry.
Yeah, he dead.
Sorry. The game's been out for I mean,
7 years.
I would say base game's been out for like 7 years now. So shouldn't be any surprises there. But yeah, no, it's so everyone's kind of falling apart, and it's just one of those things where everyone's expecting Lilith they're expecting her to take command, and she kind of has that issue that a lot of people in leadership, I'm sure, have had, where it's, I'm not sure I want to take over the leadership role because, when I make decisions, people get hurt, and it's not through any fault of their own. I mean, people are going to get hurt regardless in those kind of situations.
Yeah, and it's a really daunting position to be in sometimes, and some people are just not ready for that, and I understand that.
Yeah.
So overall, what is your opinion of the main story, of the actual storyline?
I think the main story is very well done. I think it could have. Here's the thing, I understand why they did it the way they did, and I know that there is a time aspect to it as well. I mean, obviously the whole thing with Tales from the Borderlands has happened and everything like that, so there is quite a jump in time from the end of Borderlands 2 to this new DLC as far as in-game time and everything like that. One thing I do wish they would have touched on a little bit more is I wish that they would have I wish that they would have made Hector a character that I wish that he was somebody important already to the Borderlands series. They kind of shoehorned him in, and that's not a bad thing. Like, it works for what they're doing, but I wish that the BBEG or Big Bad Evil guy for this one, I wish that he would have been. I wish that it would have been somebody else that maybe resurfaced or something like that. That being said, I think it's cool what they did with that character because people that were paying attention would notice that him and his group of doll guys, they were the actual miners that were on Sanctuary initially, and then then they were trapped underneath. That was the whole situation with the side quest where you. The side quest where you go and find out what happens to the doll miners, and they're taking out the crystalisks and everything like that. So that's that whole thing, and that's kind of coming back. I think that's cool, but they could have done that with just about any side quest, honestly, and it would have been the same.
Yeah, agreed. It's, to me, I mean, overall the story is fine. It's really not anything groundbreaking for Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, it's not surprising at all that they're like, hey, what are we gonna have him do? Well, he's trying to take over the planet and get the vault key. It's like, that's all you got?
It's like I see this big dartboard that they have at Gearbox Studios, and like 9/10 of it is try to take over the world and get the vault key. They're just like, all right, let's throw a dart at this.
Right, right.
So
yeah,
and again.
So,
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I mean, and there's nothing. I mean, at least there are good things about the DLC as a whole. It introduces some new mechanics, and it kind of ties up some loose ends with other characters and stuff like that. It's overall, I think the DLC is solid. Gives us enough new cool stuff to where I'm happy with it. I just wish that there would have been something a bit more interesting as far as the main story. Just, hey, this guy wants to take over Pandora and steal the vault key,
Yeah, exactly. I think that, I don't know, and again, I know I touched on this, I think, because really, they could have done it, if they were going to tie it in that way, they could have tied it in with any side quest. It didn't have to be the doll mining side quest thing specifically. They could have done it with, it could have been a side quest where one of the guys who had the Bane originally, was still out there and went crazy, and then he's hearing voices, and so,
or like, sorry, go ahead.
And so, like, he was hearing voices, he was still hearing the Bane's voice, and since canonically the Vault Hunters are the one that picked up the Bane, maybe he was looking for revenge on them and wanted to wipe out all the Vault Hunters, or something like that, Like, they could have gone with anything.
What about if you took, going back to your point about previous bosses and stuff like that, what about when the Crimson Raiders were when the Crimson Lancemen joined up with the Raiders? What about if there was some faction that didn't, that were like, hey, these Vault Hunters attacked us and killed many of our men, and we're staying hardcore, true to the Lance, and blah blah blah, and there was some dude like rallied their troops and like came back to take them out, stuff like that. That would have been sick.
Yep. I mean, they could have done a lot of things. Like I said, for what they decided to do, here's the thing. I think they honestly went really, really safe with it. because they introduced a brand new character that no one had heard of, and they made him have just enough of a backstory to connect to other things. Like, because we know that this is a thing already. We know that they could have done something too with like the clan wars, where they could have had something where it's like, this is the final DLC where the Zaffords and the Hodunks try and take out the Vault Hunters once and for all, or something like that.
Right, or the remaining remaining members of the Zaffords and the Hodunks find out that it was all that the entire war was put on by Ellie and the Vault Hunter, and so now they have to fight them off and stuff like that. But then that almost turns the Vault Hunter and Ellie into the antagonist.
Yeah, but
which would be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. They could have done that. I mean, there could have been a lot of options they went with. I think that it was fine for what it was, but they did go really safe with it because they didn't want anything to happen. I mean, considering that this was supposed to connect, I mean, here's what they said. They said this is a DLC to connect Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3. Yes, but like,
right. Yeah. We're like, technically, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
But basically all it said was, all right, we don't have all it did to connect it was, all right, we don't have a vault key. We don't have Sanctuary anymore. We need to find a way to get off world. And that was about it.
Right.
Like,
right.
that was really all it did.
I mean, well, there was also the interesting stuff like, hey, by the way, Scooter's dead. And and you found the echo logs of the new Vault Hunters.
Yeah, the things describing them. Yeah.
Right. Like the thing, like there was a guy who was who submitted that report to Hyperion about the Ursa core or whatever.
Yeah.
Presumably is talking about Mose and her involvement with the Iron Bear and all that stuff.
Sorry to cut you off, but real quick, that stuff was way more interesting than what the actual main story was.
Yes,
I felt like.
Agreed. Because now we're getting a sneak. But that was the only stuff that we got, was those little sneak peeks into the new upcoming Vault Hunters.
Yeah, honestly, it just makes me more hyped to choose my first pick again, which is that I'm still looking forward to playing Zane, who. I'm sure you guys are aware now, but if you weren't, he is actually related to, at the very least, he's related to Captain Flint. That we know. He's his brother. We don't know if they're both also related to Baron Flint, but we're like 99% positive on that. It seems like this was I would like for them to do this. I would love to see that maybe this was also a large family clan, kind of similar to the Zaffords and the Hodunks that came out here and just did not get anywhere with it and decided to disperse and go more the bandit route as opposed to a family clan thing instead.
Interesting.
So
that's a really cool idea.
Yeah. They did talk about that. I'm super hyped about that because they did talk about Zane. He apparently Captain Flint sent a bunch of God, I can't even talk today. He sent a bunch of assassins to go kill Zane, and Zane beheaded them all and sent them back literally in a bag and everything. And
and it was all like, classic Zane.
Yeah.
All right, man. I get you next time.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
He did say
a little brotherly rivalry there.
Yeah, he did say that Zane went off to join a Black Ops group. He's like, I haven't heard from Zane since he went to join that Black Ops group. So, I mean, that tells us a lot about his character already and what's going on there. But I think it almost would have been cooler to do, like I said, I know I keep on ragging on it, so I apologize for that. But I think the story would have been really cool to do something almost more like that. Like, it almost would have been cooler to have... Because if we're really going to connect, these things, if we're going to connect 2 to 3, it almost would have been cooler being like, look, we're struggling right now. We need to get off world, but first we need some new blood and stuff like that. So why don't you guys go out and see what you can find? So Roland's dead and Scooter's dead. We're losing people as we go. If one of the other Vault Hunters goes, then we're gonna need something else. So why don't you guys go see what you can find, or at least track down some leads, something like that.
That would have been something interesting. So, like, in as far as we know, in all the trailers and all the inside scoops and everything that we've seen about Borderlands 3, you don't see Krieg. You don't see Axton.
Yeah. You don't
see Salvador.
You don't see Gage.
It would have been really interesting. Yeah, so the only one you see is Maya.
Yeah, you see Maya and you see Zero.
Oh, right, Maya and Zero, yes. It would have been interesting to, like, is somehow during the fight, like, if those four are not going to, like, be surprise appearances in Borderlands 3 or something, like, have them killed off, you know? Just to give more weight to the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of all this, at the end of the just to wrap up the topic here on the main story, between the end of Borderlands 2 and, like, the vanilla, you know, normal story, and by the end of the DLC, what's really different other than the actual stuff that happened in Tales from the Borderlands?
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, Sanctuary's, like, blown up technically at the end of that. I mean,
right.
That's Sanctuary's blown up, and Lilith has made the decision to actually be. Okay, Sanctuary's blown up. Lilith has actually taken charge and is actually really come into her leadership role, and the key is gone. Those are the main big things that are different from both the end of Borderlands 2 and Tales from the Borderlands.
Right.
So those are the things. Now I gotta, he's right. We are gonna wrap this up, but one thing I will say this. Okay, so. I know that you're not supposed to do that, but I've been playing this game since it came out 7 years ago. So this is something that I always thought it would be great if in Borderlands 3. First of all, my expectation was, and this is going back from, this is you got to understand. This is going from when I was a lot younger. I'm 28 now, so this is going from when I was 21. There's a lot of change that happens in that time in a dude's life. So I fully expected that when Borderlands 3 came out, you would see all of the Vault Hunters like you did when Borderlands 2 came out. Okay. The other big thing was I really like Krieg as a character. I like playing him, and I think he's a very interesting and well-written character. And I still think there's an air of mystery about what's going on in his life there. So my big thing was that Krieg slowly gets more and more crazy as things go on. So my hope for Borderlands 3 was I always wanted him. Like, it'd be 5 years down the line, which it is. I mean, that worked out, and I always hoped that it would be a situation where he would go so far out that he would like the last shred of the sane side of him would realize he's like, I can't stay with these people that I consider my friends anymore, my loved ones, because if I do, I'm gonna end up hurting one of them, and I can't let that happen. So he secludes himself, and then you get like a big final thing, maybe towards like the last half of the story where he comes back and legitimately sacrifices himself to be able to save his friends, because anything after that he's not going to be able to do, and he's not going to be sane enough to be able to do it.
So that would have been amazing. And it's still a possibility.
It is.
In Borderlands 3. What makes it interesting, though, is that what indication do you have of the duality of Krieg other than that short film where we're introduced to him?
I mean, playing him,
like in game.
Yeah. I mean, playing him, he says things, like he'll say things in there, where like his internal monologue, he'll be like, say thank you, but outside he goes, nipple salads and stuff like that.
Right.
And then there's also times where when you go into your action skill and he turns into the badass psycho, his internal monologue says, all right, can't hold him back any longer. And that's my big thing, is that he says stuff like that. He says things where he's like, I can't hold him back or anything like that. Or, and then there's another really, really good one. A really, really good one. If you're idle for long enough, I got to see if I can get this correct. Krieg idle quotes. There we go. Because this is really interesting, and I think that people will really, really enjoy this. Someone joining a game, Raving Retribution, BuzzX Rampage, killing multiple enemies, Release the beast, crippled, light the fuse, pull the pin, critical kills. If I can find the thing. Okay. Here's what it says. So this is from the borderlands.fandom.wiki/Krieg/quotes. And it says, if you ever, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and kind of semi-voice act this so you get an idea of where the actual crazy side of Krieg comes in. So it starts out and it says, if you ever kill an innocent person, I will destroy us. Shut up! No, that's the deal. You can kill as many of the deserving as you like, but the second your axe touches the flesh of an innocent, I'll end this. All of it. A razor to the veins, just like the fugitive we tried to grab on Hera. Remember? Get out of my head. I'll take that as a yes.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, that's a pretty heavy thing to just, like, you just step away from the game for a few, and that's the thing that goes on. Yeah,
that, and then another big one that's very similar to that is same kind of thing. It says, I'm beginning to remember. And then he says, stop it, keep the memories down with a knife in its throat, slash it until it bleeds thought juice across the dirt and it's absorbed into nothingness. So
that's so nuts.
Yeah, he has some like hard repressed memories there. Like, you know, there's a ton of theories about why Krieg is the way he is, but I mean, obviously something very bad, very, very dark happened in his past, you know, and that's why I think that the way that that's why I think that the way I kind of described it would be a great way to send him off and everything, you know, to tie that back in to our discussion about this DLC that was supposed to bridge the gap, it would have been good to include a side quest where you and Krieg go to where, you know, something happens to Krieg and he takes off. Yeah, or something like that. You know, they could have even done that. I would have been happy with since we know this is the last piece of Borderlands 2 content that's coming out. Like, we know that. So like, it would have been great if they would have said at the end of it, you know, here's what each of the Vault Hunters did, you know, and it could have been something even as, you know, like it could have been even something as, you know, as simple as, you know, it was like an epilogue. Yeah, you know, just at the end of it, you know, just like the epilogue with like the hand-drawn thing, like you start at the beginning of the games and everything. And I would have loved to see it be something for, and again, Krieg is my favorite character, so you guys gotta understand why I'm like fangirling over this right now. But like, I would have loved to have seen him do something like that, where at the end of it, it's just like, you know, and Krieg just wandered into the dust, you know, like something like that. Just like he just leaves, and that's it. Yeah, that'd have been sweet. So anyway, that's we've spent a good long while on the main story. Let's go ahead and get into some of the little details and stuff about the Commander Lilith DLC. Yeah. Next on the docket here we have a new mechanic. Woo! Infection. Mm-hmm. So as we talked about in the main story, plants are kind of a big thing. Everyone's been infected with these like plant spores that turn them into crazy plant and zombie monster things. And the big thing about it is there's a fun thing in there where if you're in these spores, if you've got this infection, you can kind of run in and out of it, and it gives you like a new bar up at the top of your screen to show you what's going on and how infected you are before you start taking damage and everything, because you do start taking damage after you max the bar out and stuff like that. It's not super bad. It's kind of like when you run out of oxygen in the pre-sequel, so it's not terrible, like you're not going to die instantly, but it does give you a pretty big damage buff. It does give you a pretty big damage buff on that, so it's really, really fun for that. Do we have... Yeah. Go ahead, sorry. Well, I was just going to say, so I ended up having... So I've played through it twice. The first time was with you and your wife. I used a zero build. The second time I went through with a Salvador build and a B. Mm-hmm. When you've got a fully amped B and you're in the miasma and you're getting that damage bonus... Mm-hmm. Whoa. Yeah, really. You're just shredding stuff. Oh, and yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it's really fun, and you know, you're encouraged to use it in a lot of different areas and everything, because In some areas, for people that aren't quite geared and stuff, you may need to rely on it a little bit, because like the new difficulty on here, like a lot of these enemies are no joke.
Right.
So, but yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a lot of fun. It adds another layer of how you go about it. Just to, like I said, just to kind of be like, oh, I'm not doing as much damage as I could, and then get into it, and then you're like, oh no, I'm taking damage. So you got to hop back out of it and everything. Especially with some of the skills where you might do more damage the more health you have, or even like less health you have, or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Have you? Yeah, because your first playthrough was as Krieg, right?
When we were playing with you and I and my wife, I was playing it. But I was Krieg, my wife was Maya, and you were Zero.
Yeah, and I was Zero.
Yep. Okay. So,
was that something that you had thought about and gone into, like when we were doing that playthrough? Like, had you considered the fact that, like, hey, if I hang out in here and lower my health, then that's gonna buff this skill and stuff like that? Or were you just like, because personally, I was kind of like focused on the story and like hyped about new content and not really thinking about synergies.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I was the same way. So,
yeah. So now,
yeah. So, but we'll have to check into it, and I would imagine, because I've honestly been doing a lot more playing since you and I played that first time. I've honestly been playing a lot more. I've been playing a lot more with my max level 0, or attempting, getting him up to max level anyway. Because there was a level
increase.
The new max
level of 80.
Yeah, new max level of 80. Dude, it was so weird, because like I said, so as soon as the Handsome Collection came out on PS4, I got it on there, and once I got a decent gaming PC finally, I've been playing on there as well too. Like, I play them both, just kind of depending on my mood and whether I want to be in my office playing my PC or not, whether I want to actually be social with people and things.
Right.
But, like, I've had that level 72 Zero and a level 72 Krieg since shortly after you were able to get to 72 on PS3, like back in the day.
Yeah.
It was so weird to, like, be playing with the Zero at max level, and then all of a sudden it's like, bing, you got a skill point, and I was like, what?
Like, and we knew about it going into this DLC, that was part of the deal, but it's still like, oh my god, it's finally happening.
It's happening. Yeah, it was so weird too. I went into this mode of, like, I must have sat there for like 10 minutes, just like as soon as, like, after that first level, not like after getting to like 80 or anything, but after that first level, going from 72 to 73, I probably did sit there for like 5 or 10 minutes, just like, respecking and then going back, and then respecking and going back. Like, every time I'd put like that one extra singular point in something, and then I'd be like, oh no, wait, what if I do, like, just debating about where to put it and everything. It was ridiculous. It was like, great.
No, that's stupid. Why are we putting it there? And then you put it somewhere else. And yeah. So. Yeah, understandable. So, which did you prefer? Did you prefer your playthrough as Krieg, or do you prefer your current playthrough as, level 70 whatever 0? You're at 76 now, right?
77. Yeah.
77.
I haven't had as much time to play it as I would like, but one thing that I will say is that if you are looking to farm XP and also farm gear to kind of help you out and everything like that, one of the new bosses in there is really good and is a really quick farm. It's all right. So here's the thing. We know how to pronounce this. We've all watched Bill Nye the Science Guy at some point in our lives. They intentionally did this, so I'm going to pronounce it the way they intentionally wanted it done for this obvious reason. There's a new loader bot very similar to Saturn in there. He's huge and does a lot of damage and everything, and his name is Uranus. Yes.
So, and like Jeff said, like, they don't even try to do it like tongue in cheek, because it's a whole thing, and Tina is laughing her ass off about it.
She is. All right.
She's dying. And
Yeah, so like
Not literally dying. Don't misconstrue that.
Yeah, she's fine. Don't worry. She'll 5 years from this point, she'll be in Borderlands 3 as medium Tina. It's okay.
yeah, exactly.
So anyway, but yeah, no, I mean, it's a great XP farm because he scales with you like anything else does, but he scales just enough to get you about 3/4 of one of the bars down below. Like it's separated in 10, so about 3/4 of that. So it's really not too bad as far as an XP farm. And the cool thing about it is that his loot pool is huge. Like he has a chance to drop just about like every legendary, and yeah, Uranus, here we go. I'm looking up right now. Uranus has a significantly higher than average chance of dropping. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. They knew what they were doing. All right. Okay. So has a significantly, I mean, what am I going to do? Am I just going to, like I said, scientific community this and just call him Uranus? No.
Yes. Come on.
All right.
I'm not going to be able to make it through this episode if you don't.
All right. So Uranus has a significantly higher, I almost feel like that's worse than average chance of dropping legendary, E-Tech, or pearlescent items than in its massive loot drop, often dropping one or more of each upon defeat. Uranus has a chance of dropping effervescent vehicle skins and is the only loot source for the electric chair, which is a new grain mod, with a 10% drop chance. So about 1 out of every 10 times you'll have a chance for that to happen. But yeah, his loot pool is huge. I mean, I've gotten so many things from him at this point. I've gotten an Infinity, I've gotten pitchforks, I've gotten Bearcats, I've gotten Butchers, I've gotten lots of legendary class mods. I mean, I've gotten just about everything. I actually just got a new Hornet for my Zero, like everything. And, like they're not always on level and everything like that, but they will be eventually. So, you can find a safe way to farm it and it works really, really well. So,
yeah, I actually just fought him again this morning and ended up getting an Emperor from him, which, but
it's an Emperor,
yeah,
for him.
It's a flying Emperor. So.
Oh, there you go. So one thing that's also really fun is once you start farming him, there's that little loot room down by an elevator. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you haven't gotten to that point, you will soon. There's an elevator. There's a bunch of loot. There's some of the yellow Hyperion standing up chests, and then there's one of the ones that's like laying down that's got the yellow stripe on it.
Big black chests.
Yeah. So now those chests, especially that
reset.
Yeah, they reset, and that black one there actually has a decent chance to give you. I've gotten a couple legendaries out of that too, so that's not too bad.
Well, and what's cool is that you don't need to defeat him to go and get that.
Correct. Yeah, you could
once you defeat him once, you have access to that elevator forever. So then you can just, load in, hop down the elevator, and check the chest.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
that's neat.
Yeah, works really well. I like it a lot.
So
if I'm just like farming for random stuff, I think I would probably go, well, we'll get into that later, but for XP and farming for random stuff, that's going to be my go-to. There is a new loot midget farm. I'm sure tons of people have found that, so you can go check it out, but you can go and check that out. If you type in loot midget farm and Commander Lilith, I'm sure it'll come right up, so we're not going to spend time on that.
Yeah, I would think so.
So anyway.
So that's it kind of brings me to the next point, which is dropping in at level 30.
Tell us how you really feel.
Easy. it's friggin' hard, Yeah. Because the whole point of playing Borderlands and doing what you do. I mean, not the whole point, but like once you become experienced Borderlands players such as we are, you are looking for certain synergies to make the game easier and to be able to go further in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Further, farther, however you want to word it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really difficult when you drop in and you've got, let's say that I'm playing a Salvador, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a class mod, because it does, that's a bonus. It does give you class mods and everything like that.
Yeah,
it gives you everything you need, a class mod and a relic and
grenade
all that
mod,
crap.
guns,
Right,
all
right.
that kind of stuff.
But if it gives me a bonus to, let's say my class mod gives me a bonus to money shot, right? My shield is an adaptive shield, right?
Yeah.
And my relic gives me, like critical hit damage. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Come on.
Yep. No,
that's so hard.
It really is. That's kind
so
of
like what so like when I played my Salvador, right? The first thing I did, I was like, I am bailing on this DLC immediately and going and getting a grog nozzle, which is what I did. I'm like, I'm not even going and finding the base camp at the back burner.
Yeah.
I seriously, legitimately, immediately bailed to go find a grog nozzle. I'm like, okay, we can do something with this now,
Didn't you? Because that was. I mean, you're Salvador, so that's what you did. Didn't you instantly bail and go get a grog nozzle and a herald both?
No, I didn't actually go and get a herald. I was
gotcha.
like, I figure I can start with a grog nozzle and I can make it work from there. And then, so I did make the mistake though. I was really curious. I wanted to see if I could go into the Gunlust tree and play through in the Gunlust tree to begin with, and just see how well I did. And it's no, it didn't work out. So I ended up respecking and going fully into the Rampage tree, just to get that gunzerking going, and I'm gunzerking pretty much immediately after I'm done, and it's
just to keep that DPS really, up.
Yeah, and but I do have I have a bee, I have a grog nozzle, and I found a couple effervescents with him. So like he found the toothpick and the...
So good.
Yeah, okay, we'll save it. We'll get to the effervescence later, but I got a toothpick and an infection cleaner, so pretty sick.
Yeah, I bet.
Anyways, but anyways, getting back to the main point right now, dropping in at level 30 without any kind of synergies is hard.
It really is. Yeah, because that's the thing, is that I understand what they're trying to do and I respect it and everything like that, but they set it up and they're like, all right, we'll give them options so that they can kind of play however they want, and that's great and everything like that. But if I'm Zero and if it drops you and it's like, hey, here's this relic that does pistol damage, and here's some snipers and SMG and a shotgun,
right?
Oh
man, so frustrating. So do you remember when you and I first started playing, right? We hopped in and we had unique weapons, right?
Yeah.
So that's the cool thing, is that every single time it starts you off with a unique weapon, which is nice.
Which is
really, really nice.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie. So when I dropped in with a Mordecai, they gave me a sloth
with a zero. Yeah.
Sorry, with the zero. With the zero, they gave me a sloth. Hold. If any of you just ask yourself, what the hell's the sloth? I did the same thing, and I'm hosting a friggin' podcast on this game. All right? I'm like, I have no idea what this gun is. And then Jeff, without looking it up at the time, I theorized. I'm like, do you think maybe this is the sniper rifle that Mordecai's supposed to give you during the Rackaholics Anonymous mission? And he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, but nobody would know what it is because we all take the ruby.
Yeah, because you'd be stupid not to.
Exactly. So sure enough, I look it up, and I'm like, yeah, the sloth is the reward that you get from Mordecai and Rackaholics Anonymous. I've been playing this game for years, and I never knew that.
Yeah.
Knew that's the gun that you get.
Yeah, essentially, like, think of it this way. So, let's say that there was a day of the year where your town, whatever town you live in, it's like, hey, everyone come to City Hall, okay? Here's what we're going to do. You're going to go ahead and you're going to pick one of two doors. Okay, behind this first door is a cake. Behind the second door is two cakes. All right? It's like, all right, is there any difference between the quality of the cakes? It's like, no, the two cakes is exactly as good as the one cake. You just get double the amount of it. It's like, Okay, well, I'll take the 2 cakes. All right. 100 years from now, they were still doing that. Everyone would go to the 2 cakes and be like, hey, what's behind the other door? It's like, I don't know. It's worse than the 2 cakes, though. Like,
right. Whatever it is, it's not as good as 2 cakes. So that's exactly what happened. I was just like, man, I don't even know what this gun is. I've literally never seen this gun.
Yeah.
And it's not great. I'm not crazy about it. So the name, will tell you it's got increased damage, but it's got reduced bullet speed.
Yeah.
Great. That's super frustrating in a game where people move fast a lot, and you're trying to shoot them from way far away. Mm-hmm. So I did get it in a slag version, which made it kind of nice. So
yeah, but no, they do give you those kind of things. They give you unique weapons. I know that when I dropped in as Krieg, it gave me a Heartbreaker, which I was super happy about as Krieg.
Yeah, that's wicked.
I was like, this is perfect. It does fire damage, and it'll heal me, and it's a shotgun, so I can buff it to do a ton of damage. This will be great for Krieg.
For my Salvador, they gave me a Hive.
Yeah, so when my wife, when she was doing it with us, it gave her a Lascaux.
Right.
As a Maya. I'm like, that doesn't even, I was like, that's not even elemental. Like, what are you doing? Like, yeah. And yes, any of these characters you can do gun builds with and it works out, but it's just, no. Like, give, like, I mean, there should have been something else. I mean, they could have given her like a Tulane or something like that, or.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, it would have been nice if, like, okay, if you're Maya, you are required to get some type of elemental unique. Yeah. You know what I mean? Any kind.
Yeah.
And for Krieg, it could have been
fire or explosive. Not any element, but specifically fire or explosive. Specifically.
Right, and if you drop in with a gauge, you get a shotgun, and if you drop in as Salvador's pretty open-ended, but it would have been nice to have something with a higher magazine capacity, something where I'm firing a shit ton of bullets, and I don't know, Axton, give Axton the rocket launcher, some kind of sick rocket launcher. That would have been nice. In Zero is a sweet sniper rifle, which
they gave you a sniper rifle.
Is a sniper rifle. It's not very good.
It's not good. So, but
anyways, so quick tip though on dropping in at level 30. You can bounce back out. You can leave there, go back into the vanilla game, and redo, and do some other farms and stuff like that, so that way you can get gear that is more beneficial to you. There's nothing stopping you from going back and farming savagely or farming for an infinity or whatever, Yeah. And also, if you're struggling, go back to episode 1 and listen to what we talk about there, because that's all about, the best not common, but like
non-unique,
non-unique, basic style weapons. We talk about the best pistol to get, the best shotguns to get, etc. So that way you can keep an eye out for that stuff as you're going through the DLC, and you can at least get that stuff, and it would help you out significantly over the generic stuff that they give you when you drop in at level 30.
Yep. So anyway, moving right along. I'm going to go into side quests. So, there was a decent amount of side quests. I thought they were, all fun. I think the nice thing they did, and they knew that they were doing this as well, is most of the side quests actually gave you cool stuff.
Yes, agreed.
They're like, look, at this point, no one needs side quests for 4 iridium and some XP and some cash.
Right. That would have been super fun. I mean, I forget which one it was, but you and your wife and I, like, we're looking at side quests, and I'm like, hold up a sec, does this say that gives us a legendary as a reward?
Yeah, that was, and that one was super easy, too. It was, that one was, like, to give you an idea, this was a legendary that was a reward for finding echo logs. And that was it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That mission is Echoes of the Past.
Mm-hmm. That's really where the main story of Hector and what he's doing is explained, and where you understand that whole situation. So
yep.
So if any of you are curious about that, that's the place to go for that. So, but no, there's some really fun side quests in there, and it does kind of tie up some nice fun things as far as, you know, I think it's nice because really, since you defeat Hector and everything like that, they're more kind of fun things. It's like, hey, we want to do this for this character, we want to do this for this character. Like, one of them is great. One of them is you're collecting sniper rifle parts for Brick so that he can make a gift for Mordecai, and it's like, oh, that's nice, you know.
Right, it is. It's nice. It is cool because they're best pals, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the other one, really, really heart touching. You know, you gotta go collect Scooter's porno mags and try to donate them to somebody. And nobody wants them.
Nah, like it's hilarious. Like, you know, because what I think you try and give them. I forget who you try and give them to first, but he's like, oh no, it's how could I?
I think it's Vaughn.
Is it Vaughn? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Vaughn's the first one, and he's like, oh no, that's such a nice offer. I couldn't.
Yeah,
really.
It's too generous, you know, something like that.
Right. And then you try to give it a Brick, and he's like, hell nah. Like, I'm not going near those. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he's like, nah, I ain't trying to mess with none of that. Like, you know, like,
so great.
In true.
I may have, reflecting back on it now, I may have enjoyed the side quests more than the main quest. You know, just as far as interesting stuff, you know?
So there is, and I kind of was on whether I should do this or not. I was kind of weird about this because I did hear some news, and we're going to talk about it a little bit here for one of the side quests. So, Drew, do you remember the side quest with Claptrap where he's talking about the currency that he's making and everything like that? Did you play that one yet?
I did not.
Okay, so I'm gonna explain this. So one thing to remember through this thing is that the voice of Claptrap is the new voice that we're gonna hear in Borderlands 3. And at one point, there's a side quest in there where he's trying to make his own currency similar to
like a cryptocurrency.
Like he calls it a kleptocurrency and everything like that. And here's the thing. So you go and you set up all this stuff so that you can get this currency, and then he's like, oh, yep, it hit a bust, so it's worthless. So I'm gonna pay you in all this currency and blah 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 and whatever. And then like he's like, take that, Crimson Raiders. I don't need you guys anymore and blah blah blah. And I'm gonna go and do my own thing with this currency. I'm rich, I tell you. And then it hits a bust or whatever, and then he goes back and he begs for his job back. He's like, can I please be a part of the Crimson Raiders again, Lilith? I promise I won't do anything ever again, and blah blah blah. And she's just like, yeah, whatever, you know. So
yep.
So here's the reason why I was hesitant to share that is because, so think of it this way. So the news that we heard about the guy that was doing the voice of Claptrap was that he was leaving because he didn't feel respected there. So now we have a new voice, and we have Claptrap going and saying that he's going to do his own thing, him not being successful at it, and then him begging for his old job back with Crimson Raiders. Yeah, Drew's got like such a face right now.
That's a really weird.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost. Oh man, that's almost, like shots fired.
That's almost too on point. Yeah. Now, to be honest, we're not even the first podcast to talk about this. Where I initially heard about this was from the Giant Bomb podcast. So, props to them for doing that. And they got a letter from someone or where they were talking about that. But here's the thing. Okay, two things. I'm not going to stop at two things. It may be more than two things. So there's a couple of things. We know that because of the type of studio that Gearbox is that it would not be unsurprising to have Randy Pitchford be involved in making of a quest of something like that.
Right.
And he may have malice against this person. I'm not saying anything about these people other than the fact that there may be some bad blood there.
Some bad blood. Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate all that the former employee did for the company and everything like that, and I appreciate what Randy does for Gearbox now and everything. That being said, there may be some bad blood there and everything, and they could have put that in because of that, or but at the same time, here's the thing. At the same exact time, none of this really seemed out of place as far as Claptrap's character.
Yeah, that's accurate. It's a really, like I said, I haven't done that side quest yet, and I'm not surprised by that at all. By that kind of quest, it's like, oh yeah, all right, standard Claptrap. Claptrap. Dink. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It does hit a little close to home, and it's a little on the nose.
Yeah, like
it could have. I mean, had they not included that mission, nobody would have been like, "What? Claptrap doesn't get a side quest?"
Yeah.
You could have just not had that quest in there.
Yeah.
But then again, the community at large, your average Borderlands player probably doesn't know the whole story behind it and everything. You're talking mainly the hardcore people that are really into it know about, the guy leaving and, why they switched voice actors and stuff like that. But your average, like, oh, hey, new Borderlands, that guy's not going to be... Yeah. He's not going to know the whole deal, so...
Yeah.
Maybe that's just kind of what they counted on. They're like, the vast majority of the audience is not going to think about this, and the ones who do are still going to play Borderlands. So
yeah. So just as a quick little thing, that the previous voice actor was David Eddings. So he is not returning to voice Claptrap in Borderlands 3, and so that's why he wasn't there in that one as well. There was just the way this has this listed from Rock Paper Shotgun, it just says that there's some contention / disagreement / agitation between Eddings and Randy Pitchford on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We don't need to go into that. Like I said, we don't like to stir the pot. This one was just really interesting though, because you could really read into it however you wanted to. I mean, I did see some people saying, "Oh, this seems very out of place for Claptrap," and I'm like, "Nah, not really. Like it really doesn't, like so
right.
It's not out of place for the humor in Borderlands or for the writing, because like at one point in there, I mean, the first thing you do in that quest is you're setting up blockchain, and it's literally a concrete block with a chain. Like, I mean, that's
that's so on point for Claptrap,
Yeah,
like that's his character perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. So it is kind of one of those things. On a side note, I thought I've had people kind of go both ways on it, but I thought that Jim Ferranda, who is the new voice of Claptrap, I thought he did a great job with it. I think, is it the same? No, it's not the same. Does it have to be? No, it doesn't. I think it's really good. So,
nice. Well, that's good. I'm really looking forward to doing that now. I'm really curious. I kind of want to see if there's any other like little things that he says or anything that are. I'm like, ooh, that smacks of reality a little bit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So no, but I'm sure this will never get to him. But Jim Ferranda, if you're listening, you did I think you're killing it. Keep on doing what you're doing, man. So
yeah.
But yeah.
So quick. Okay. So I know we're talking about side quests, but your thing about the character of Claptrap and things that he would presumably do, things that are not off character for Claptrap.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the main story real quick and talk about when Tiny Tina gets real with it. That was really, really great. I actually loved when she, and if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, it's during the main story. You're about to go fight Uranus.
Yeah.
and Tina just kind of slows down, and she's like, "Hey, can I be real with you?" Like, she's worried about Mordecai, and then she also talks about how she has this feeling like if she stops, she just won't start again, and you're just kind of seeing these seeds of how they're bringing some realism to a totally batshit insane crazy character.
Yeah.
And it was nice. It was really cool to see them be like, hey, even if this is what's going on the outside, it's not always what's going on, you know, in your head, and people aren't always what they seem, and people have things going on that you don't think about, and maybe you should stop for a second to consider what other people are going through and everything. Really, I found that really, really interesting, and I was really happy to see that included in the DLC. It kind of made me stop and like take stock for a second of like, man, you just every other interaction with Tiny Tina is just
it's so over
off
the top.
The walls.
Yeah.
You kind of got a little peek of like when in the Tiny Tina DLC, when she admits that she knows that Roland's dead and she's having a breakdown because of it, kind of goes back to that a little bit, and it's nice to see more dimensions to what somebody would think would be a pretty one-dimensional character.
Yeah, and I really hope that we get to see more of that in the future games and everything like that, because there have been a couple of things that have stood out through the series, and you know, you say whatever you want about the writing. I know that not everyone likes the writing, or maybe more specifically, it's that maybe not everyone likes the humor that has been in the games. I think it was probably more accurate. But there have been some really, really good moments in those kind of things and everything where, like, I mean, you know, there's some fairly strong evidence too that looking at Scooter, that he may have very well been autistic as well. You know, he had some very interesting social interactions and everything like that. And but he knew what he was doing when it came to like building anything, you know, so kind of almost like a savant like understanding of machines and everything like that. I mean, he just builds a rocket just straight up in Tales from the Borderlands and everything like that. But like I said, he did have some aspects to him where he was not as good in other areas, particularly
social interactions.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so, and I think it's great anytime you can do something like that. So I don't know enough about that kind of stuff to say for sure that he is or not, or if that's what they meant. But I like any time that you could kind of take that and kind of run with it, especially in a game series where it wasn't. A lot of the time when they do stuff like that with these characters, they're not heavy-handed about it. You know, and that's the thing that I like.
Yeah, it's more inspiring and uplifting and like relatable. You know, like,
correct.
Hey, this is what's going on. Everybody goes through that stuff. You know, even fictional people. You know?
Yeah, so. And that's the best part about it is those aspects of those characters. Those are literally aspects of those characters. It's not the character, and that's what makes it so great. It's teaching you that whatever you've got going on in your life, it doesn't have to be that thing specifically, or your personality doesn't have to be guided around one specific thing. I mean, you guys know us as Borderlands guys, but I'm sitting here, I'm in my office right now. I've got 4 guitars hung up on the wall, and I've got a lot of other video games behind me, and downstairs in my basement, I've got woodworking stuff too. Borderlands is only one aspect, you know, of my life and everything like that. And it's the same kind of thing, you know. It doesn't have to be the one aspect of it. And I like it that they can show that in these characters.
Yes. Yep. Totally agree.
So
with that being said, let's talk about new gear and shit.
Let's try this for a transition, because people kind of change as they go along, and it's like they kind of, you know, have things that might be a little bit different about them, kind of like they're going through lots of different phases, you know, like an effervescence, if you will.
There you go. Such as effervescent weapons.
Woo!
Segue much. Anyways, so if you weren't aware, the Commander Lilith DLC also introduces effervescent weapons in there. This is the rainbow class of weapons that was kind of leaked a few months ago by Commander Kobe. Shout out to you, bro. I remembered your name.
What up?
Pat's self on back. Anyways, so there's some really, really cool weapons. And now the thing is that it is a new rarity. I wouldn't say, though, that it's certainly not more rare than legendary. It's definitely not.
Yep.
I'd say it's probably, I mean, as far as actual rarity of the weapons and skins go, I'd say it's probably on par with blue. Like they drop about as often as blue rarity weapons and gear.
I would say they probably drop about as often as blue, but you have the power of legendaries.
Yes, yeah, which is cool. So it's super great. Let's hit up some of the weapons and gear real quick. What are some? I obviously haven't picked up every single effervescent item. I've picked up the toothpick, the retainer, the infection cleaner, and I think that's it. And then the new legendary skin for the runner.
Oh yeah, yep. The rainbow runner or whatever they call it.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much the same at this point. I do look let's just be honest. Toothpick, amazing gun. It's so good.
Best assault rifle in the game?
Easily 110% done.
Ooh.
Because here's the thing.
That's a hot take.
Here's the thing, and this is why I say this. Now we know that we've like been hard on assault rifles in the past. Like we're not even gonna lie.
And deservedly so.
And deservedly so. But I have used some assault rifles for very specific builds for things, But the toothpick, dude, any character, pick it up, go to town. You're gonna have a good time no matter who you're using it with. It's just so good.
It's like if you have it's like if you have a fire sandhawk,
Mm-hmm. It really is.
It's really, really great and incredibly helpful for infected enemies in the game. You know what it's like to have a toothpick and a bee both equipped?
Dude.
It's so nice.
It is. It's so nice. So, as a point of reference on that one, we're not going to make this, we're not going to go in depth as we do on like our going gun stuff, but it is always incendiary. It fires 10 shots in a row in 2 rows of 5. Right. So this thing is great, and it has
and only consumes 6 ammo per shot.
Yeah, and only consumes 6 ammo, so it's fantastic. So it does increase damage and magazine size, and it has reduced fire rate and reload speed. So not a huge deal. But here's the thing: if it wasn't awesome enough, just for completing the game, you get the mouthwash relic from Lilith, and it does more damage based on that. So it's in case you haven't seen it yet, it's kind of a trend. So it's the toothpick and the mouthwash. Get it because oral hygiene.
Right. And then in addition to those is the retainer, which is the shield. And if you have the toothpick and the retainer equipped at the same time, you have increased speed, I believe. It gives you increased speed.
Yeah.
Movement speed and jump height are increased.
Yeah. So the cool thing about that...
Put that on your Krieg, fat ass.
Yeah, he needs it.
He does.
So
Mr. Low Jumpy Mans.
He is. So, yeah, Krieg's a fat ass. Anyway, so the cool thing about that is there's a specific reason why they do this. They're kind of getting, and I hope that we see more of this in Borderlands 3, honestly. Like, I want to see more different builds and be able to, I don't want to see anything balanced around one specific piece of gear. Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, well, now that the community has found this thing, we have to balance everything around it because they're just going to keep using it. Similar to what happened with, like a good example of that is, the Grog Nozzle. The Grog Nozzle and the Herald. It's like they have to balance everything around that, or the Bee or something like that. Pretty much anything that's been balanced in Borderlands 2 has been balanced around those 3 things. So, but as cool as that is, and as much as I want to see people have like whatever build they want and have it work and everything like that, the cool thing about this is you're meant to use the toothpick, the mouthwash, and the retainer for
together.
together, and even more so to be able to do that to fight the new invincible enemy, which is Hatterax, the Invincible. It's a giant sandworm, crazy looking thing. It's the new raid boss, so crazy thing. You're kind of meant to be able to do that to use against that, and then you're meant to use the gear that he drops to make OP leveling in Digistruct Peak a little bit easier as well. That set would be the hard carry, the easy mode, and the peak opener for the relic, the shield, and the assault rifle. So same kind of thing, but I do like, it kind of has a Diablo kind of aspect to it where it's like, here's a specific gear set to use that all give each other synergies. So, I would like to see those synergies return in Borderlands 3, but I don't want it to override the fact that you should be able to make a build that is completely and uniquely you work as well.
So, looking at that gear set, the toothpick, the mouthwash, and the retainer.
Yeah.
Pretty universally, able to be used by all the characters, all the playable Vault Hunters.
Yeah.
Except maybe Zero.
Why do you say that? Just out of curiosity.
Just because it's... I guess the only benefit... Okay, so, at face value, okay, you take all these things. The toothpick is an always incendiary assault rifle, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Incendiary means that it's going to benefit Lilith and Krieg.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Maya and Krieg, okay? Yeah. The fact that it's an assault rifle is going to benefit Axton, Gage, and...
Salvador.
Thank you.
And probably also, honestly, Krieg a little bit, too.
Right. Okay, I'm going to put it on you. What part of that set of stuff benefits Zero? And I can think of one thing, and I'll tell you what it is after you tell me.
Okay, maybe it's the same thing. Multiple pellets for bore effect.
That's not what I had in mind, but that's
That's actually a really good point.
It really is. I don't know how, but I forgot about bore somehow. I mean, that's probably the only... Okay, but that's one skill. You know what I mean?
But it's a huge skill.
It is. It's really been... I mean, so the other skill that I was thinking about was... I'm not going to be able to think of it, so I'm just going to have to pull it up. It's the increased... it's velocity.
The increased bullet speed? Yeah.
Correct,
and critical hit damage. Yeah.
So, alright. I guess bore combined with velocity is going to... That's probably enough. That's probably good enough. Alright, so there. Listen, you heard it here. Maybe not first, but toothpick is good for damn near anybody, because if you're running Zero without bore, you're doing it wrong.
As in the immortal words of Michael Jordan, stop it. Get some help.
So anyways, and I actually haven't taken a look at the hard carry or any of those because, like I said, I haven't looked at the hard carry, the easy mode, the peak opener, because I haven't fought Hatterax yet. Have you?
I haven't. Beth and I went in. Beth is my wife. For those people that don't know, we've gone in. We've taken a look at we've taken a look at him and everything like that. But that was just with our little 30 characters and everything like that. So just weren't trying to actually kill him or anything like that time. Just kind of wanted to see what this whole deal is. There are some guides if you want to go fight him and everything like that. I don't know. I've never been I've never been super into fighting raid bosses. I do and I have and everything, but it's not my go-to when I want to enjoy Borderlands. But, other people would be like, well, what do you like to do then? It's just like, I don't know, just run around. I like to farm for very specific things and just continually see if I can get better, because I don't weapon glitch or anything like that. I try and get specific things and try and get them to drop, hopefully. That's kind of my thing. Anyway, that being said, I was going to wait and actually go in and take him out once I hit level 80 with my Zero. That was the goal. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So anyways, the other effervescents are the... I'm just going to read them directly off the fandom page here. The Hot Mama, which is a Jacobs sniper rifle that is always incendiary.
Yep, that's the one we talked about before that you can do sniper
Yep.
gauge with, by the way.
Yep, the Nirvana, which is a Malawan SMG. Fun fact, it's just a Hellfire. It's just a fancy-looking ass Hellfire.
True fact.
There's the Infection Cleaner, which is a TDR SMG. That thing's hella fun.
That is. That one's just fun.
It's fire. It's a fire SMG also, and then acts like a bouncing Betty grenade when you reload it. It like bounces and spins and shoots bullets and then explodes. It's sick.
It is really fun. It's super fun. So,
let's see. Next, you've got the World Burn, which is a Torg rocket launcher. I haven't found that one yet. Looks like it is always incendiary as well. A lot of fire damage in this DLC. A lot of fire damage. Mm-hmm. The Unicorn Explosion, I never get to talk about that one. You just gotta find that thing and play with it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, you can't find that one. You gotta do a specific thing to get that.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil that. I mean, because that thing is honestly really, really fun. So anyway.
Yeah. So then there's the Antifection, which is a Vladoff grenade mod. Again, guess what element it is?
I'm gonna go with fire.
It's incendiary.
Yep.
Let's see, and then last you have another grenade mod. That's the Electric Chair. That is a Vladoff grenade mod.
Dude, that one's fun. I have played around with that a little bit. Like I just picked it up after fighting Uranus at one point, and it was just like electric chair, and I just threw it, and I was like, I wonder what this does. Instantly killed myself with it.
Ooh, that's what it do. Suicide. Just gotta take a quick death here, and
I'm just gonna take a quick death here. So it's speedrun strats. Anyway, but yeah, no, you throw it. It's if you've seen God, what's the other one? The other electric one that you get from the rats. The other grenade.
Oh, the chain lightning? Or the not Stormfront.
Stormfront, yeah. Couldn't think of it. It's similar to the Stormfront. It has like a similar kind of effect. It just does stupid amounts of electric damage everywhere. It's really fun and entertaining. I like it. So, anyway, but yeah.
So that's the effervescence. They're really great. They're definitely useful. Especially if you're running like a Maya fire build or a Krieg fire build, or if you're just at a point in the game where you're fighting any kind of enemies that take fire damage, which is really most enemies other than Hyperion bots.
Mm-hmm.
So the last thing we're going to talk about as far as the Commander Lilith DLC is the new legendaries. And there's 4 of them, and man, it's been so nice to have new legendaries. Oh, actually, let me stop here for a second and just say that I started playing Borderlands significantly after Jeff had started playing. Mm-hmm. So Jeff was like, yeah, you got to play Borderlands. So I picked up OG Borderlands on PS3. Really loved it. Then, ended up getting the Handsome Collection on PS4. Oh, no, actually, I played the Game of the Year version on PS3 first. Then I got the Handsome Collection. Jeff's played through all this stuff. Yeah. And I had not. So this was the first Borderlands content that we had ever played together that we were both experiencing for the first time.
Yeah, truly.
Which was so great.
It was awesome. I was so happy about it.
It was just a really great experience to be able to play this thing that we both love and experience it for the first time together. I'm not sure if we're gonna do the same thing with Borderlands 3 because I feel like because we were able to play together so infrequently, I feel like it would be difficult to go through the entire main story only playing together for the first time, but we'll address that when we come to it. But I just want to take a second to say shout out to Gearbox for releasing this DLC and giving us new Borderlands content and doing it for free.
Yeah, really. So because that's nice. I mean, first of all, we've got the Handsome Collection and everything like that. It was either free or cheap as dirt, everywhere for a month, and then during that same time, you guys went ahead and did and made that DLC free too. It's been great. And we've been able to share and bond over this, and I'm sure a lot of other people have too. But yeah, no, super happy about it. So
let's talk about the new legendaries that came with Borderlands. With this Borderlands DLC. First of all, we're going to talk about the Amigo Sincero.
Mm-hmm. So this is the one we talked about the side quest earlier. This is the actual weapon that you get when you help Brick make the sniper rifle for Mordecai. And can I just say, it's really nice for Mordecai, because the whole reason that he gave it to him, he's like, "Oh, Brick, what's this for?" and everything. It's to celebrate Mordecai's 1 year of being sober.
That's so awesome.
It is.
That's really, really. Again, it's going back to our conversation earlier about kind of realness and multiple aspects of our characters. That's really cool.
Yep. So the main thing that this is, and a lot of these you might notice are kind of reskins and things like that, but they're just like slightly better versions of things that they're based off of. This one in particular, the Amigo Sincero does what the Trespasser did. So it actually shoots through enemy shields, which is sick. It's awesome. So, there's some really fun things you can do with that. Man, do you remember when you could just trespass was just a skill in Borderlands 1 though?
Yeah. Miss those days. But yeah, no, it's great. It works really well. It's identical in function to the Trespasser, bypassing enemy shields to deal damage directly to health, but it does deal more damage because it's got a semi-automatic firing mode. Yep. Which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's about all there is there. Moving on, the next one that we're going to talk about is the Overcompensator.
Mm-hmm.
The Overcompensator is a legendary shotgun manufactured by Hyperion and is obtained from the mission Chief Executive Overlord.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Another weapon with a unique voice module has reduced pellet count, increased accuracy, fire rate, and magazine size. Magazine has a chance to refill a random amount of ammo when fired. Has a fixed accessory and consumes 1 ammo per shot.
Yeah. So if you've used the Butcher before, this is basically the same thing. So it does that fun thing where you just keep shooting and it kind of randomly, it kind of randomly reloads as you go. So, but it's super fun. But then, if you're into this, the nice thing about it is that it also talks to you. So it so says
that's nice.
Yeah, so it has quotes and things like that. So it's pretty interesting. Like I said, if you've used a Butcher before, this is pretty similar. It's just a guaranteed way to get something that's like a Butcher. So
yeah. Looking at the quotes real quick, I think my favorite thing that it says is when you aim it, it goes, "Whoa, everything's bigger now."
Yep. So, yeah, there's some fun stuff with that.
So, next is the Hector's Paradise. It's a legendary pistol manufactured by Dahl. It's obtained from completing Echoes of the Past, which we talked about earlier in the side quests thing. It's always shock. It always has a melee attachment. And it's always... sorry, I already said that. But it's basically, if you think of a fixed blade Hornet that does shock.
Yeah, which honestly is awesome, because if you ever have something that is... I mean, there are other options, yes, we understand that. But for pistol users specifically, if you ever need a way to do a lot of really quick damage to take down a shield, then switch over to maybe deal with so like if you're fighting a loader that has a shield and then you have to do the corrosive damage to it, this is honestly a pretty good option. Are there other options for doing shock damage? Yeah, absolutely. No, there's not. So this just happens to be one of the most straightforward and easiest ones that I've found since this has come out.
Yeah, I mean, like going to fight Wilhelm, take a Hector's Paradise,
Yeah, absolutely.
Going to fight any of the a lot of the constructors and stuff have big shields on them. You know?
Yep, same kind of thing. So this is just a nice way to go about that. So
yep. And last and least, the M2828 Thompson. It's a legendary assault rifle manufactured by Jacobs. Not crazy about that. randomly dropped from a marked grave in the Dull Abandon. It's a standard Jacobs assault rifle, very similar to the Hammer Buster, but with substantially improved stats. Both its damage and rate are moderately boosted, with the most substantial boost to the magazine size.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. For what it is, it's actually pretty good. I mean,
you think so?
Yeah, I've played around with it a little bit, and like I said, for what it is, it's actually pretty decent. Again, they've kind of upped their game a little bit. I think they knew that that assault rifles kind of got a bad rap, and so they wanted to make some decent ones. So this one's actually not too bad. So yeah, like they said, with its wide assortment of bonuses, the Thumpson is easily one of the most potent Jacobs weapons in the game. So, because its damage and fire rate have been moderately boosted. But it's got a huge you've seen Jacobs things; their magazines are not huge on it. So, but it's got a maximum magazine size of 93.
Yeah, and it says you're typically looking at a magazine size of 60, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a hard time with it because it's always single action. It's always pull the trigger for every single round you fire. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, because it has such a huge magazine. Yeah, your trigger finger's gonna get tired. Right, and it's bang, 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 bang. I don't know. It's just, I'm not crazy. That's my only knock against it, really. It's just, if, what would have been sick? Okay, so, make it double action. So 2 bullets fired for every you pull the trigger? Yes, but no. You pull the trigger, it fires. You release the trigger, it fires. You pull the trigger, it fires. You release the trigger, it fires. Oh man, that would have been really cool. That would have been sick! That would have been you would have won me over with this weapon had they done that. Yeah, and here's the thing, since it's a Jacobs, we all know what that means, that it fires as fast as you can pull the trigger, so... Right. So if you're doing that, and if you're still going as fast as you can... Then essentially, Drew's doing this right now. So for anyone, if you're in a safe environment where you can do this, please don't take your hands off the wheel if you're driving or whatever. But I want you to just take the finger that you use to pull the trigger on whatever it is, whether you're playing on, mouse and keyboard or, with a controller or whatever. I want you, whichever finger you use to actually do that, I want you to just make the motion of, firing a weapon in Borderlands. And I want you to think that as fast as you can do that, it's going to be double fast if it was like a double action thing like Drew was talking about. That would have been sweet. Although maybe that would have made it busted because mouse and keyboard players are click, 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 you know what would have happened, right, is there would have been that guy out there that would have broken the game by assigning the fire button to his scroll wheel and then just just zzz, I used to have a mouse back in the day that had a weighted scroll wheel on it, so I could just sit there and all right, I'm ready, and then put it into a loose mode, so it wasn't clicking along, it was freewheeled, and then it's weighted as well, and you could flick it. And I've done this before. If anyone's out there and you're doing this, I want you to do this. I want you to go on Maya. I want you to assign her Scorn punch ability to that, where it sends out a slag wave to your weighted scroll wheel, and then flick it and see how many Scorns come out. It's great. Oh man, I'd never even thought about that before. That's amazing. It's so good. So, but yeah. But anyways, that wraps up the. Sorry, go ahead. No, that was it. Oh, okay, yeah. So that wraps up the legendaries, the new legendaries that were introduced in Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary. So that's going to take us to our last section of the show, which, as always, is going grenade. Spit it out. Going grenade. Normally it's going gun. This is going grenade. going grunt there, bud. Grunnerade. Anyways, so today we're going to talk about the Chain Lightning. It is a legendary grenade mod manufactured by Malawan. It, if you couldn't already guess, does shock damage, and can be found in Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. Quick sidebar before we jump into this. Where do you rank the DLCs now, including the Commander Lilith DLC? Put you on the spot.
Okay.
Do it up.
It's going to be a little bit different depending on what I'm talking about, but as far as an overall thing, I'm going to go ahead and say, and this may change because this one's new, but I'm going to go ahead and say Tiny Tina.
Wait, are we starting at the top of the bottom?
Yeah, I'm starting at the top from 1 and then in descending order. So from 1 to 5 now. So not including Headhunter packs, obviously. So Tiny Tina is still my favorite. I really like that one. You can get good gear and it's fun stuff to do. Then it would probably be Captain Scarlet's Pirate DLC because same reason it's a really fun DLC with some really fun gear. Then the new one, Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary. However, if I'm going specifically for gear, this one would move to the top right away.
Yeah.
But all things combined, this is where we're at. Then we're gonna go on to it's a hard one at that point, but at the end of the day, I think I would do Torg and then Hammerlock. I'm just not fond of the Hammerlock one. You know, the Torg one still has some fun stuff, and you can do some stuff to get some gear. It's really great for getting gear, because if you're looking for any Torg thing, you can just go to the vending machines, which is nice, the Torg vending machines.
Yeah, I mean, Torg is, to me, I'd agree. That's probably my order as well. I might actually move Torg up to 3, and this one down to 4.
Okay.
Just because I like Torg as a person, Mr. Torg.
Flexington.
Mr. Torg Flexington. So. He may be the only reason that I bumped him up to 3, but Tiny Tina's DLC, that's easily my favorite.
Yeah,
by far.
Yeah, good gear, well done story, fun environment, and it really does give you, like I said, there's a lot that you learn about the characters in that one, which makes it really fun. So.
Yep.
So yeah.
Anyways, quick sidebar there. But anyways, going grenade. We are looking at the Chain Lightning. It's a legendary shock grenade mod from Malawan. Always shock, regenerates grenade ammo after time, shoots a bolt of lightning straight forward that explodes on impact, and arcs to nearby targets. Character may shout "Lightning Bolt" while playing in Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. It's a really great electric grenade mod, shock grenade mod, ideally suited for Gauge. Can also be used by Maya, but Gauge makes really good use of it, and it also pairs really, really well with Moxie branded weapons, especially the Grog Nozzle, obviously, but also, the Ruby and the Heartbreaker and whatever else. Because it does a lot of damage, and it just, a really great place to use it is like fighting the rats. Because there's always rats everywhere when you're in the
like in the fridge.
When you're in the fridge,
yeah.
And it's super beneficial to have something like this, especially with all the barrels around and everything. Just huck that thing from far away and let it wreak havoc, and then just go and clean up the mess.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like this thing for a couple of reasons. My main way that I like to use this is on my Zero builds. Particularly, this thing is amazing on Melee Zero for a couple of reasons. Because most of the time, if you're using Melee Zero, you're probably also going to be using that slag-bladed Ruby that everyone really likes. So you're slagging enemies with that, and you don't have to switch to anything to do melee to it. But the nice thing is that, like he said, it pairs really well with that, because any elemental damage that you do with the Chain Lightning, if you're holding a Ruby or a Grog Nozzle, comes back to you as health. Yep. So it's really good to use that in those situations. And the nice thing, especially if you are doing, if you're doing it that way too, is that it's really nice to be able to throw this thing, have it take out the shields of your enemies, give you health back, and then you can go ahead and charge in with your bladed weapon and take enemies out that way. So it works really, really well. And like anything else, it's a grenade, so you're also not breaking. Your deception when you've got it active. So you can do all this. You can get all your health back and do all this while enemies aren't firing at you, but firing at your clone. So, or at your hologram.
Yep. Interesting note. When you throw it, the lightning bolt is not going to be sent to the middle of the crosshairs. Keep that in mind. So get into the habit of kind of getting used to where it's going to strike. Get a feel for it. So just load in, throw a few grenades, dashboard quit. Just so you can get the feel for it, and then hop back in, so you're not using up those grenades. So
yeah. So it does regenerate over time though as well. So that's
true.
So that's super nice to be able to do that.
So if you've got some time between encounters and stuff, you can do that.
Yeah, it is also really nice because you can kind of cheat with that a little bit too. You can, if you're using another grenade that you have, like if you're using a fastball for some kind of a build, if you use up all your fastballs, then you can go ahead and throw the chain lightning on. It will slowly give you grenades over time, as you're also maybe looking for them too. So,
yep.
Yeah, really fun. I enjoy it. Like I said, I use it a lot for my zero builds, things like that, to get health back real quick and things like that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. So
yeah, if you have the means, I highly recommend it.
I highly recommend it. So
anyway. So yeah. Anyways, so that's gonna wrap up going Grun Raid, and also gonna wrap up the episode. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will catch you again in 2 weeks. Good luck and good drops.
Okay, bye.